School Days According to Humphrey, Chapter 7, A Visitor and a Visit. The next day was bright and sunny, which I normally like. Last night, I had wished for another rainy recess so I could study the new students a little more. But the sunshine helped me think of another verse to write in my notebook. Autumn, oh autumn, when the weather turns funny, one day it's cold and rainy, the next day it's warm and sunny. I don't believe Mrs. Brisbane thought it was funny when Hurry Up Harry arrived a few minutes after the bell rang. This time he brought his mom with him. She looked very worried as Miss Brisbane greeted her. Mrs. Brisbane, I'm so sorry. After your call last night, I promised myself I'd get Harry here on time. But then I had to stop for gas, she explained. Tomorrow I'll get him here on time. Thanks, Mrs. Itto, Mrs. Brisbane answered politely. Then she turned to Harry. Why don't you go take your seat and take out your language arts workbook, she said. Og, did you hear that? I squeaked to my neighbor. When Miss Itto had left and the students were all working, Mrs. Brisbane called Harry's mom last night to talk to her about him being late. Boing, boing, Og loudly replied, which made some of the kids laugh. That's serious, I said. I hope he wasn't too upset. When I looked over at Harry, he didn't seem upset at all. The bell rang for recess later in the morning, and those students rushed out the door. I knew they'd be getting their wiggles out at the playground. So I decided to try some of those exercises Mrs. Brisbane had taught us the day before. I wiggled my ears and my whiskers. I even jiggled my tail, something else humans could not do. Then I shook my whole body, trying to shake my problems away. Rockin' Humphrey, I squeaked. I guess I looked a little silly, but I felt good. I felt even better when I heard a familiar voice say, Humphrey, what are you doing? I looked up and saw a wonderful sight, Golden Miranda and Speak Up Saya. Two of my best friends from last year were standing by my cage and smiling down at me. I think he's dancing, Saya said with her beautiful, soft voice. We miss you so much, Humphrey, Miranda said. I'm sorry. You have George in your classroom, I squeaked. If only she could understand me. We miss you too, Og, Saya added. George doesn't like you, but we do. It's not the same without you two, Miranda leaned in very close and whispered, I love you, Humphrey. I was a little worried that Og might feel left out, but Miranda leaned in close to his tank and said, You too, Og. My heart did a little somersault inside me. Golden Miranda still loved me, and I loved her back. Girls, Mrs. Wright, will be looking for you, Mrs. Brisbane said. She always knows when someone's missing from the playground. They laughed and promised to come see me again soon. The rest of the day I tried really hard to concentrate on what the teacher said. But no matter what she said, I kept hearing Miranda's voice saying, I love you, Humphrey. Later, Mrs. Brisbane made an announcement. Class, I'll be taking Humphrey home this weekend. Starting next Friday, he'll start going home with a different student each weekend. I was a little bit relieved not to be going home with any of the new students, since I still didn't know them very well. However, I'm a very curious hamster, so I couldn't help wondering what weekends at their homes would be like. Mrs. Brisbane lived in a yellow house with her husband, Bert. After an accident last year, Bert was now in a wheelchair. He spent a lot of his time in his workshop making birdhouses. He made a big extension to my cage, too. Thanks. He also worked part-time at the Maycrest Manor, a place where people get better after an accident or an illness. Sometimes he took me there to help. It's pretty quiet at the Brisbane's house, especially compared to some houses, which are filled with kids and pets. Sometimes a little too quiet, and I miss Og. I dozed a lot that weekend and napped while Mrs. Brisbane tidied up the house. I slept while she went over students' papers. I snoozed while the Brisbanes went out Sunday morning. I was certainly rested up when Mrs. Brisbane opened my cage Sunday afternoon and said, Humphrey, you must be bored to tears. I haven't paid a bit of attention to you this weekend, and that's changing now. She scooped me up and put me in my yellow plastic hamster ball. How about a change of scenery, she said. It sounded unspeakably nice to me. She carried me to the garage where Mrs. Brisbane was hammering away at a piece of wood. I thought you might need some company, Mrs. Brisbane told her husband. Always do, he said. Mrs. Brisbane sat in an old stuffed chair near the workbench and put my hamster ball on the ground. My hamster ball didn't have flashing lights or music, but I still liked it. Go for a spin, Humphrey, she said. You need the exercise. I started the ball rolling. Things looked different from inside the ball, and they sounded different too. When Mrs. Brisbane talked, they sounded as if they were underwater, but I could still hear what they were saying. "Bert, may I ask you a personal question?" she said. He chuckled. "We've been married 30 years, Sue. I think you can ask me anything you want." "Okay, what's the worst thing about being in a wheelchair?" she asked. Bert thought for a few seconds. "I can't reach that box of candy you hide on the top shelf in the kitchen." Mrs. Brisbane laughed. "I put it up there so I can't reach it either." Then Bert got more serious. "People are the worst thing about being in the wheelchair." "Why?" Mrs. Brisbane asked. "Well, I don't like it when people treat me as if I'm different. I'm no different, just because I'm sitting in a chair. I'm the same person I always was," he explained. His wife nodded. "That's true. But I don't like it when people try to help me when I don't need help," Bert continued. "But you can't blame people for wanting to help," Mrs. Brisbane said. "I appreciate help when I need it, and I know I have to ask for help sometimes. But some people just won't leave me alone. Like Violet Rasmussen next door. If I'm outside for 1 minute, she runs over to see if she can help. It really gets my goat." Mrs. Brisbane laughed quietly. "You haven't changed a bit since you've been in that chair, Bert Brisbane. You're as stubborn as ever." "It's called independent," he said, chuckling. Bert began running a piece of sandpaper over a piece of wood. "Why do you ask?" "Oh, there's this girl in my new class, Rosie. She's in a wheelchair," Mrs. Brisbane said. "She's very independent, too." "That's good," Bert said. "Yes, but she's not the problem. It's another girl," Mrs. Brisbane said. "Something else, Bert," she said. "You know how when you were a boy you were really short?" Mr. Brisbane smiled and nodded. "Yep, until one year when I went from being the shortest boy in the class to the tallest boy in the class. It happened over a summer. Quite a change." "Which did you like better, being short or being tall?" Mr. Brisbane stopped sanding the wood. "I guess there were problems either way." "That's what I was thinking too," his wife said. "Me too," I squeaked, rolling my ball closer to her chair. "Oh, Humphrey, I almost forgot about you," Mrs. Brisbane laughed. "No one could ever forget Humphrey," Bert said. "Humphrey won't be here next weekend," Mrs. Brisbane said. "He'll be going home with a student from the new class." "Which one?" Mr. Brisbane asked. "Yes, which one?" I squeaked. "Not sure yet," Mrs. Brisbane said. We stayed out in the garage for a while, but the Brisbanes talked about other things I didn't understand. As I rolled around the garage, I tried to imagine Mr. Brisbane as a little boy. It was hard. But when I tried to imagine Mrs. Brisbane as a little girl, that didn't work either. Maybe hamsters just don't have good imaginations. Humphrey's rules of school. Everyone has problems, not just you.